Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Namaduhu Nasalli ala Rasul al-Kareem. This is part two, response to the video Secular Pakistan. How realistic is that? First Hindu temple in Islamabad. In the previous response, it was mentioned that the thinking that Islam is some kind of an obstacle in the path of progress is, of course, not supported by history. It is just one of the propaganda tools that is used by the secular uh, establishment and secular elite to confuse people and to demean Islam and those people who support Islam. In this video, it is hoped that people, the viewers, would get an idea as to what are the challenges being faced by the Islamic movement in Pakistan in particular. Of course, this is true not only in Pakistan but also in other parts of the world, in Muslim countries, but more so in Pakistan, because Pakistan is a leader in many ways, uh, mainly because Pakistan is the only Muslim country that has nuclear weapons. So all attention, all the focus is on Pakistan because of its military potential. So it's important for the Islamic leaders in Pakistan to form a common front against this cancer of secularism, which has been theirs right from the very beginning. If the Islamic leaders are interested in removing this cancer from the society, they will have to form a common front and overlook their differences. Otherwise, this thing will continue and become worse. Unfortunately, we have seen a lot of Islamic leaders form alliances with the secular parties. And they have to understand that Islam and secularism cannot go together. Islam is so sensitive that any kind of mix is not going to happen, is not realistic. Uh, Countries that have tried that have ended up becoming un-Islamic. Turkey is one example that tried secularism with the result that the whole society turned away from Islam. There are little pockets here and there, but the whole culture, the whole society has been totally devastated by that thinking. And of course, there is an effort in Pakistan also to make it like Turkey and get out of the Islamic thinking altogether. So the Islamic parties bear a big responsibility that they have to come to common terms. They have to form a common front. We have seen Islamic parties join secular parties in government, in power, with the result that they have been marginalized and people lose confidence in them. The reason why no Islamic party has won an election in Pakistan is because people are not fully sure that their agenda is Islam. So Islamic leaders have to distance themselves from the secular parties. We saw Maulana Fazl al-Rahman's long march uh, was not successful because the secular parties did not give support to that. They understand, the secular parties understand that their agenda is very different. And they gave no support. If they gave any support at all, it was very half-hearted support. And Mulana and all the Islamic leaders must realize that no matter what they do, they are not going to get support from the secular parties. The three main secular parties of Pakistan are the PTI, BPP, and the Noon League. These parties have commitment to their constituents. They get support from the secular establishment. They get support from the secular media, who get support from the international forces that are determined to wipe out Islam completely from Pakistan. So Islamic leaders have a big challenge. They have a big responsibility. If they try to form alliances with these secular parties, they will come to grief as they have come to grief in the past. They have to change course and make sure that they are united with regards to their goals. Unless the people are convinced that they are uh, committed to Islam fully, they are not going to get the support. The reason why a lot of Islamic leaders are discredited or they don't have credibility among the religious element in Pakistan is because they've been too close to the secular parties. People have to see that there is no connection whatsoever. They're thinking that uh, for the sake of getting into power, they will make alliances with even those who have a very different agenda. Uh, it will it will be successful. That is not going to happen. So this is a big challenge for the not only the leaders but also for the supporters, all the people in Pakistan who support an Islamic government. The media is not going to change. Their agenda is very different. We cannot expect the media to make a change in their thinking. They benefit from the secular establishment. They benefit from the secular thinking. This is how they make money because their whole bread and butter, if you want to call it, lies with that kind of culture. The the culture of immorality, the culture of liberality, if you want to call it. This is how the media thrives all over the world. So to expect the media to support Islam would be very unrealistic. The Islamic leaders have to educate the masses and make it clear to them that they are not going to get any support from, from the media. The only way the masses are going to be educated is through the mosques, through the masajids. And this is one of the reasons why all the secular parties have tried to impose restrictions on the mosques. The mosques or the masajids are the media or the Islamic media, if you want to call it. This is a place where people who are committed to Islam come on a regular basis, and they need to be instructed that the society is is infested with this cancer, and it's destroying the society. And if they need a change, they have to stop voting for the secular parties. Unfortunately, even the people who come to the masajids, they end up voting for the secular parties, not realizing that these secular parties are not going to do any, not going to bring Islam. Every now and then there is a big issue uh, in the media. There's a big issue facing the people, and then the protests start. We saw the protests by Maulana Khadim Hussain Rizvi a few years ago, where they had gathered in thousands to protest the actions of the Nawaz Sharif government, where they had tried to, the government had tried to bring change in the law with regards to the Qadianis. So that led to a lot of conflict with the government, and that issue was, of course, resolved in a way which was not pleasing to the government or to the media. But this had this had to happen, and these things keep happening from time to time simply because the power is in the hands of the secular establishment or the secular type of thinking people. And this has to change, and the change can only come if the Islamic leaders start leading in the right way and start uniting instead of scoring points against each other and trying to knock each other down. Unless they change at the top, the people will be confused, and the people have responsibility that they should look upon this as a common goal. It's not a goal of any particular leader or a particular Islamic party. The, the goal is to establish Islam as was established during the time of Rasulullah. Islam has to be established in the same way, and the common people, have to trust the leadership and go along with them. This system has gone on for too long. So 72, 3 years is a very long time. And it is about time now that the political leaders, the Islamic leaders, should stop making alliances or getting close to the secular parties. The three secular parties may be fighting with each other, but they are really on the same page when it comes to secularism. Whether it's Nawaz Sharif, Zardari, Bhutto, or Imran Khan, they are all secular people who do not want Islam. They pay lip service to Islam just to get the votes. They all understand that the common man in the street is very sensitive when it comes to religious matters. So they give a little bit of uh, flavor, if you want to call it, a little bit of lip service to Islam and try to get votes. Like Imran Khan started talking about the Medina state, and a lot of people got carried away with that. So much so, even scholars like Maulana Tariq Jamil were very impressed by Imran Khan's commitment to make a Medina state in Pakistan. And of course, this is uh, very pleasing for some people to hear these words, but in reality, the people who understand the system know that Imran Khan has no intention to make Pakistan a Medina state. When he talks of Medina state, he's thinking of something like Britain or Sweden or Denmark or one of the European countries, which he thinks are examples of Medina state. And this is another issue that's come up with regards to the temple. His understanding of Islam is very different from the understanding of the ulama. So the ulama who have knowledge of of what a Medina state looks like, uh, of course, need to educate the people. A common man doesn't know what the Medina state was and how it is different from what Imran Khan thinks is the Medina state. So this is a big challenge. It's a challenge for the local leaders and the national leaders to be on the same page. And this thinking has to change. The educational system in Pakistan is not suitable to bring about a change in the thinking of the people. The whole system has been developed by the un-Islamic forces, and it's funded also by a lot of international forces that have no interest in bringing about Islam. One of the reasons Malala has become so popular in the West is because she represents secular education. She is considered to be a role model for the young people in Pakistan because she wants education that will take people away from Islam. And this is a challenge for the scholars to bring it to the attention of the people that the international forces are all united when it comes to taking Islam out of the society. They have succeeded in countries like Turkey, they have succeeded in countries like Egypt, in Syria, and in a lot of other Arab countries. And of course, they're trying very hard, countries like Saudi Arabia, where they think that they need to open up and become just like any Western country, which means reject Islam and become liberal societies like Europe and America, where men can marry men and women can marry women, and liquor can be sold in the streets and grocery stores, and the society can be what they call free, but which from an Islamic standpoint would be exploitation of women. Uh, these societies where women think they have rights, they have rights only as products. They are used as products. People make money out of them and they exploit them. And they think women believe they have rights, but in fact they are no more than slaves. And Islam has elevated women to a point of respect. The woman has respect in an Islamic society, whereas she is treated like a product in these other secular societies, whether it's in Japan, China, Britain, France, America, Canada, any part of the world. They have value only as long as they are young and beautiful. They have no value as human beings. So their position is not they, they're not respected as women, as human beings. They have value if they are pretty and they can be used on the media. They come in the media and they get a lot of money because the advertisers, the promoters, the owners are are benefiting from their beauty and from their youth. Once once they are not in that position, then they're discarded, they're thrown away, and they're replaced by somebody else. And this is not something that Islam appreciates. Islam appreciates humanity. This is the human rights. This is the real human rights. The human rights they talk about is not human rights. They are talking about exploitation. So the whole system, the whole capitalistic system, is an exploitative system. It's a parasitic system. It's like parasites that feed on other people, and once they kill them, they they end up killing themselves. So people have to be educated. The common man in the street doesn't know. He's so involved in the everyday problems that he has no time to think, reflect as to what is going on. This is another type of slavery. The secular system is another slavery that has been inflicted upon the human race. And Islam came to liberate the human race from all types of slavery. Muslims have a great responsibility to be careful about these leaders. They talk of human rights, they talk of women's rights, but in fact they are enslaving them and they are keeping them chained, dependent on others. See how degraded women have become. They have to look pretty all the time on the media in order to earn money. They have no respect as sisters, as wives, as daughters, as mothers. They are treated just like any item that has a worth, as a value. Just like a new car has a lot of value, but as it gets old, it becomes junk, and it has to be junked. So Muslims have a great responsibility to give human rights, to give rights to humanity as they are, as they should be given. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide the Islamic leaders that they stop making alliances with these secular parties who are only there for themselves. They talk of rights of the people, they talk of about the humanity, but they're only there for their own selves. And they're not going to support the Islamic movement, whether they come from PTI or Muslim League or Noon League or People's Party. They are all the same. They're all chips of the same block. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help rid of this cancer which is destroying the society. Wa akhirat dawana in alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.